Hello everyone. Do you know that if you abuse of substances, such as alcohol and drugs, as a college student, you are more likely to receive a lower grade? According to an article from the TCA Regional News, students who drank heavily 4 or more times during a 2-week period were 10 to 16% less likely to receive an A average grade than those students who did not drink during that time. That is a problem in today's college environment and culture. That is a problem that you could face as a college student. That is a problem that I could face, and the reason why I've researched on the fact that substance abuse is a harmful behavior for college students. And the argument I want to make today is this: substance abuse is a harmful behavior for college students. To support the argument, I will make 3 main points. First, substance abuse negatively impacts academic success. Second, substance abuse increases the risk of a long-term addiction. And third, substance abuse is a common element of sexual violence and sexual assaults. Now that I have presented you my argument that substance abuse is a harmful behavior for college students, and I have mentioned what will be covered to make and prove the argument, let me start with my first point. First, substance abuse negatively impacts academic success. According to an article from the US Fed News Services, college can be an exciting time for students and open their doors for a world full of opportunities. But it can be easy for students to lose their way and their focus by using alcohol and drugs. According to an article from the News RX Help, college students who consume medium to high levels of alcohol, marijuana, or any other drug have constantly lower GPAs. This fact is also presented in the TCA Regional News article, which states that institutions need to make students aware that the use of alcohol and drugs can negatively significantly lower the GPAs, impair their ability to focus on their assignments, and drain their enjoyment from their educational experience. This article also states that college students who are particularly heavy users are led to be less interested in completing assignments, less interested in going to class, and less interested in engaging with their professors, which at the end of the day will prevent them from achieving their goal, achieving their purpose of going to college. Now that I have presented you my first point, let me move on into my second point. Substance abuse increases the risk of a long-term addiction. According to an article from the PR Newswire, the college-age demographic has one of the highest levels of substance use, which can negatively affect their college experience and lead them to an addiction. As many as 1 in every 3 college students have reported that they have abuse of alcohol at one point, and 1 in every 5 has abuse of an illicit drug. In addition, according to an article from the Long Island Business News, studies have found that 17% of college students reported that they smoke marijuana at least once per month, and 8% have reported that they use an illicit drug without prescription, commonly with the use of Vicodin and oxycodone, and 42% of them are constant drinkers. Also, according to an article from the TCA Regional News, nearly 70% of students who misuse stimulants were also excessive drinkers, and about 70% of them have used marijuana during the last month. The longer the longer people use these substances such as alcohol or drugs, the lower their mind and their body will feel that they actually need this in order to survive, in order to focus, in order to complete any other task, which have been proved to be a myth and not be true and not be a fact. The stress of college life can be a factor in a student's addiction, many times also combined with the stress or pressure to be grown, the pressure to feel like an adult that would lead us to the use of drugs and alcohol. We have seen how, with the increased concern and coverage in the last couple months on sexual harassment, sexual assault, sexual violence, especially in the college campuses, there is a need to understand what are the causes of these attacks, what are the causes of these crimes, what are the causes of this main problem. Which brings me to my third and last point. Substance abuse is a common element of sexual violence and sexual harassment. According to an article from the PR Newswire, sexual violence often occurs when people are under the influence of alcohol and drugs. It is important for prevention programs to focus on alcohol and drugs abuse and as well as sexual violence. In addition, according to an article from the TCA Regional News, sexual assault is a persistent problem in college campuses, which is commonly complicated by the use of drugs and alcohol, social pressures, and the intimidating report process. Also, synthetic drugs are increasingly common in parties in college campuses or where college students are. And many of these students are openly or willing to use these drugs without actually knowing what are the consequences, what are the effects, or what can they lead to. In some of the cases are leading to tragic attacks or tragic crimes such as sexual harassment or sexual violence. Most of the people don't behave or don't act as they normally do when they are under the influence of alcohol or especially drugs. As I conclude my speech, let me review my three main points. First, substance abuse negatively impacts academic success. Second, substance abuse increases the risk of a long-term addiction. And third, substance abuse is a common element of sexual violence and sexual assault. All these points support and demonstrate my argument that substance abuse is a harmful behavior for college students. As I mentioned before, according to an article from the TCA Regional News, students who drank heavily 4 or more times during a 2-week period were 10 to 16% less likely to receive an A average grade than those students who did not drink during that period of time. A lot of people are asking, are there any consequences for consuming substances as a college student? Let me conclude by answering that question. The unfavorable academic and social results from the misuse of substances such as alcohol and drugs are constantly indicating that substance abuse is a harmful behavior for college students. Therefore, let me challenge all of us to inform people and spread awareness about, especially to college students, about this problem that brings negative consequences and impacts from the use of substance abuse. It's a problem that could affect people and college students' lives and future. And let me also challenge you to help or advise those friends or other college students, classmates that you know or you suspect that are suffering from this or any other major problems to be open to receive any help. Thank you.